So we've got a big week ahead of us, my friends. Black Myth Wukong is right around the corner. I think just a few days from now it comes out, does it not? And the media, of course, is melting down over that fact. They've been trying to destroy, discredit, and smear this game for months. Ever since it first started making its rounds on social media, it was way more than the media was okay with, especially for IGN, which is why Rebecca Valentine, one of its writers, went after the game and its developers by digging up posts from the past that were mistranslated in order to push a narrative that the developers were weird and perverted and disturbing. And she also brought up a bunch of unnecessary requests during a playtest that she was invited to, and for some reason other media outlets saw what IGN was doing and they're like, hey, that's a great idea, let's do that too. There's no way that we're going to get any negative repercussions from doing that, but they did because gamers pushed back on both IGN and the other outlets and other Sweet Baby Inc. defenders who were attacking this game for no apparent reason. But I've got quite a few stories to go over with you all today, because I'm starting to make a few connections here. It's very clear from what I'm seeing that there is a coordinated effort to destroy Black Myth Wukong, and it's from the media. Whether that has to do with allegations of Sweet Baby Inc. trying to extort millions of dollars from GameScience, the developer of this game, or whether it has to do with something else, there is something about this game that the media does not like, so they have been relentlessly attacking it. And these attacks, as baseless as they may be, may come to a boiling point before long. Since this game comes out in a few days, everybody is anxiously awaiting the reviews for Black Myth Wukong and are hoping for very positive reception. Because of a rumor that's being passed around, it may appear that IGN has every intention to damage the reputation of this game upon release. I don't know if this is confirmed, but we do have a post from Grums here who points out a TikTok that was released by a Chinese user. IGN review of Wukong leaked. Supposedly somebody in China got mad and leaked the upcoming IGN review of Black Myth Wukong. I have no idea how they were able to do that, and if this is true, it would be interesting to find out how they were able to pull that off. Rebecca Valentine is the IGN reporter who originally wrote that much-cited hit piece on Wukong's devs, GameScience using mistranslated and out-of-context quotes. Her debunked article was quoted as the factual basis for dozens of hit pieces on GameScience, as the devs claimed they were being extorted for millions of dollars to be forced to hire woke consultants to fix their image or else. File this under rumor, but we will see in just a couple of days if this was a true leak. Yeah, if it turns out that this review really is a 5 out of 10, that's going to cause a lot of controversy. Maybe that's what IGN wants. If this is true, of course, it has not been confirmed, but yes, we will find out in a couple of days. But let's not pretend that the media could be safe from scrutiny, okay? Other outlets have also been attacking Black Myth Wukong, and that's what I want to go over today because the arguments being presented here are fascinating. Not only are they only allegations and can't be backed up by any actual reputable facts, but these were the same lies that were perpetuated by Rebecca Valentine, and it appears that GameSpot took a liking to these fraudulent claims and decided to run with them. As you can see in this post from Permaband, GameSpot made a hit piece on Black Myth Wukong again. My goodness, they cannot stand this game, much like the other Western game journos have done over the months. This coordinated behavior keeps adding to the GameScience didn't pay the 7 million SBI extortion narrative. They themselves made it more believable. And what Permaband is referring to here is an allegation that was made against a Sweet Baby-like agency, not specifically Sweet Baby Inc., although it is possible, where there was an attempt to extort millions of dollars from GameScience through terrifying them into believing that their game is not going to be accepted by society because it doesn't push modern narratives. So whenever people see other media outlets pushing the same ideas that Rebecca Valentine tried to push in her claims against GameScience, they immediately attribute it to the $7 million extortion scheme, because a lot of people have made the connection that the media is going after Black Myth Wukong because it refuses to include DEI gaming consultancy into its development. And it is a really fascinating connection to make. I don't know 100% if it is true, but I'm not the only one who is suspicious of such things. Not only is Permaband suspicious of such things, we have big prominent YouTubers who are also skeptical of this entire situation, and they're asking questions now. Why in the world is the media going after Black Myth Wukong so hard when it is absolutely clear that gamers want it? On Steam, it's one of the most anticipated titles. It's one of the most wishlisted games on the app. It's also got more people playing its benchmark than other games that are supposed to be quote-unquote really popular. So why is it that the media is going after this game if not that they refuse gaming consultancy? Well, it could just be that they're not including DEI in their game. It could be that the majority of gamers are abandoning other DEI projects in favor of this so that they can instead spend their hard-earned money on a game they actually like. I've been telling people to vote with their wallets for months. Maybe that's exactly what they're doing now, and maybe the media sees that and they hate it with a burning passion, and maybe that's why they are trying their darndest to burn this game to ash. They refer to that $7 million extortion scheme in the past, that allegation that was made about a sweet baby-like agency that tried to extort game science. And I remember reading this post. It said the reason why the team behind Black Myth Wukong has been subjected to persistent sexist attacks and slander since their first promotional video is because they have consistently refused political correctness guidance and rejected the extortionate guidance fees of millions of dollars demanded by these political correctness teams. Now, this is a very powerful allegation, and it's going to take a lot to prove that this is true, but people are connecting dots and making this observation because it's extremely suspect. It really is. And let's not pretend that sweet baby-like agencies don't go out of their way to terrify their customers or extort money from them by telling them, hey, your game is going to be reputably destroyed by woke people because you don't cater to them. Still, that does not change the fact that GameSpot is running with this exact narrative in order to smear Black Myth Wukong. On their post itself, on their actual website, they don't get any attention. On YouTube, it's being destroyed. No comments here on their site, but yeah, let's take a look at that video, which is being annihilated, obliterated, stomped into a bloody paste/mist. I mean, 1,000 likes to 7.4 thousand dislikes. These people at GameSpot are extremely incompetent. They're useless. They bring no helpful information about video games to people. These reviews or these everything to know about this game videos that this channel makes are garbage. I watched this entire 7.5-minute video and barely did this guy even touch upon the game's actual features, only going over the huge mainstream bullet points, but not actually delving into what you can expect performance-wise, what you can expect length-wise. But the worst part about this video is this huge segment dedicated solely to attacking game science and Black Myth Wukong's developers in particular over posts that were already debunked. You gotta hear this from the GameSpot guy himself, and then you'll likely understand why this video is getting ratioed into oblivion. Listen to what he says here.
It should be noted that allegations against game science have surfaced over the years via reports of the developer fostering a sexist culture and work environment, with numerous women in the Chinese gaming community highlighting these problems within the studio, as well as backlash following crude and controversial social media posts by game science co-founder Zhi Feng. As of this recording, game science has repeatedly refused to comment on the allegations, although it has removed some of the offensive wording in its marketing materials that has contributed to the misogynistic culture. Further details on these allegations can be found at a link in the description.
That's amazing that they leave a link in the description so that you can look at the allegations, but you know what they don't put in the description? The website to the actual game or other content creators who are making videos about it, or any website in particular that talks about this game in any positive light. Nope, just a link straight to the allegations. It's no surprise that this video is being destroyed, but in one of the highlighted comments that has over 900 likes, a person named Leona in A11 2 days ago said the original Chinese interview basically said there is no need to rely on female players to attract male players who hope to socialize with them or flirt. I don't see how it can be sexist. GameSpot is a POS. And I agree. This company really has not done anything useful in years. It has not contributed properly to the gaming industry's success and progression. It has only contributed to the anger and wrath of gamers everywhere who are forced to watch their shenanigans, including Asmongold, who saw this exact video and decided to go after these people. Look, the fact of the matter is GameSpot lied. They pushed, made up, debunked, out of context quotes from Rebecca Valentine from IGN. She was the one who made these allegations in the first place. Now GameSpot is running with it. Unfortunately for them, gamers everywhere are starting to take notice, pushing all of this BS. And not just normal everyday gamers, prominent, popular YouTubers like Asmongold. A couple of those things that he said, I wanted to point out to you guys here. Listen to this.
What they do is they create the need for making sure that their opinion is up there by having these platforms. and then they make the companies have to appeal or capitulate to what those demands are. So, for example, if the game doesn't have an accessibility feature that these journalists think are important, then they write about how the game doesn't care about disabled people and wants people without arms to die, or some variation of that. So it's all really about power, because the way that the journalists maintain the power is by using that power to effectively slander or defame the companies, and then make the companies behave in a certain way to empower the journalists. But the reason why it's not working anymore is because the journalists are no longer the gatekeepers.
And he's right. Even if you do not believe there is a coordinated effort from journalists to smear this game because of one reason or another, it still does not change the fact that Black Myth Wukong rubbed journalists the wrong way for some reason. Rebecca Valentine specifically for some reason. She asked about accessibility features or something at this playtest, and she did not get the answers that she has wanted, and so she wrote a smear hit piece. And if that allegation or rumor that Grums posted earlier about the 5 out of 10 from IGN is true, then that would bring home the idea that the media is going after games in bad faith. Although that can already be proven true for many other titles. Stellar Blade is a perfect example of a game that has been smeared by the media for absolutely no reason. But this game is just as special, if not even more special, because not only is it also an overseas video game, but it has also topped Steam charts, which is something that does not happen often on Steam. The media is going bonkers over this game, believe it. And not only do I believe this, but Asmongold also believes it. He thinks that GameSpot is not only going to be non-existent in about 5 years, but he also believes it's possible that there could be a coordinated media attack on Black Myth Wukong and a coordinated push from the powers that be to push DEI into everything. And I believe that the majority of gamers have come to that conclusion by now. Not everybody wants to admit it, but that reality is rearing its head more and more each day. What, you don't believe me? Well, let's take a stroll down memory lane, shall we? That Park Place Pokemon Go players demand Niantic reverse newly rolled out avatar changes. Why y'all make everybody ugly? How many years has Pokemon Go been out? Quite a few years. A long time. Way too long for anybody to care about changing or removing genders or making characters androgynous, but they still tried to do it, and Pokemon Go players spoke out against it. And this was back in April, so this wasn't really all that long ago. But here's another story from that Park Place yet again. Reports Square Enix removes male and female character options from upcoming Dragon Quest III HD to 2D remake. Kabrutus pointed this out on his own posts. He pointed out how disappointed he was that Dragon Quest was trying to do something like this. And it's unfortunate that Square Enix has been going further down this route as time goes along. They've been embracing DEI and trying to push DEI, censoring games left and right for different reasons that gamers never even asked about. And it sucks. It seems that many publishers and game developers are trying to do things like this. These are not the only games that are trying to remove gender or blur the line between genders. We've got more recent games that are trying to do just that. Report from that Park Place yet again. Relogic's Terraria removed gender selection 13 years after release in most recent patch. I was playing this game when I was like a young man. I was playing with a buddy of mine, and it was a fun, like, side-scrolling crafting game that you could, make stuff and fight enemies on. But 13 years this game has been in existence, and only now they're deciding that they're going to remove gender selection. This is why so many people believe there is a coordinated effort from the powers that be to change gaming for the worse. Whether they believe it's right or not is completely irrelevant. This is absolutely happening. I don't know why they think that it's actually a good idea, since so many of these companies are now losing money because of these pushes. The craziest thing about this is that these aren't even the oldest games that are being affected by these modern day changes of removing gender. They're doing certain things like this to other new remakes from older games. Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster removes the erotica genre from the photography minigame. Look, I will be straight up with you guys. I didn't really care about the erotica score you could gain from taking certain pictures of certain women or certain angles of things in the original Dead Rising 1, but that feature did exist and they removed it. Why is it that they are removing things that appeal appeal to male players? That is the question that a lot of gamers are asking. Many people, including myself, feel that these big corporations, these publishers like Sony and Microsoft and companies that are even bigger than that, like Vanguard and BlackRock, they're pushing ideas down the pipeline that nobody wants. And companies like Capcom are saying, yes, sir, please, may I have another sir, and spitting in the faces of their fans every single day. This problem does, in fact, exist. And it's not just that they're changing. They're also removing dialogue from Steve Bloom's PTSD-ridden Vietnam character, where they remove where he says the word commie and replaces it with mole instead, because communists are now running the gaming industry. Apparently, commie is such a horrible word. You have to remove it. You have to go in and add a completely new voice line to remove the word commie. Do you see why all of this is ridiculous? Things that don't even matter. Games that have already been on the market forever. Why is it that they have to go back and change people's back catalogs and ruin people's good times with the games that they used to play and enjoy? To be honest, I think they're just trying to demoralize gamers at this point. They're making fun of gamers, they're insulting gamers, they're making all of these changes on purpose to demoralize, change gaming from the inside out, regardless of what anybody says, and that's why these things keep happening. Tomb Raider did it too. Lara Croft pinups removed from Tomb Raider 1 through 3 remastered. Now, they did put these back in, but only after so many gamers pushed back against it. Voting with your wallet and speaking out against the developers does work. It doesn't always work. Sometimes the developers will just spit in your face and they'll make fun of you, and sometimes ban you from their social areas altogether. You see a fine example of that exact thing in this new situation that is making the rounds on social media. Now, as per Grums, they just ruined OG RuneScape. Now, specifically, this is old school RuneScape. It's a specific remake of the original game that is separate from the retail version of modern day RuneScape. So there are two different RuneScape games, but he says mandatory and unasked for update forces body types and pronouns onto players. Where have we seen this kind of nonsense before? I don't know, maybe in the cluster of previous titles I just went over. It's always about removing genders in old games and replacing them with pronouns. Why? Again, why in the world are they doing this? So from this screenshot, because I don't have old school RuneScape installed, I know I always claim to be a gamer, but I don't have that classic installed on my computer. Maybe one day soon. Players may now choose between body type A and body type B, offering the freedom to pick either body type without the restriction of gender labels. Yeah, those pesky gender labels that we're all assigned at birth with. Whose stupid idea was that to make people male or female? Anyway, oh wait, no, that was God, the almighty creator, Jesus Christ, the savior of the world. Anyway, let's go on. To give you even more room for self-expression, you can now choose a preferred pronoun for your player character from the following options: he, him, she, her, or they, them. Wow, that's amazing. You can also continue without selecting a pronoun if that's what you prefer. I know that Starfield offered that option, but that still did not stop gamers from criticizing them and then finding even bigger problems with the game as they went along. But they go on to say that the game will use the default based on body type similar to how it has always been. But for some reason, they have to remove the genders. You cannot be male and female. Why can't you have male, female, body type A and body type B? What's the problem with all four of those things? I mean, aren't most of the people that you're trying to cater to now gender fluid for the most part, or at least they claim to be gender fluid? They can be any gender, any object, any animal or element if they so choose. So why is it that you can't have all four of those things in there? Why can't you switch both versions off and on at will? And here's the biggest question of all. Why is it that you're taking the old school RuneScape, a game designed to draw in the OG RuneScape players with all of its original features intact, and trying to change it for a more modern audience? Why is it that you would do something like that? How are you capturing and retaining the spirit of the original game by going in and changing the genders? Did the original RuneScape have body type A, body type B, and pronouns? Absolutely not. Okay, we were all in our school libraries in middle school playing that game on the computer when our teachers weren't looking. Me and my buddies, when we were playing RuneScape way back in the day, there were no such thing as pronouns or body type A's and B's, but that is something that we see cropping up in modern day reimaginings of classic games or in new IPs altogether. But it's clear that whoever is in charge of this right now does not have gamers' best interests in mind, and I promise you they are not willing to have a conversation with you you about these changes that they have made without your permission. Another post from Grums sheds some light on some of the developers that are involved with this game and their reception to players' pushback on these changes. RuneScape product manager Jagex Ash is thinking about making misgendering a reportable offense in the game. Yep, this game is doomed. We've already got people on the inside with the ability to ban people, and they have their minds made up. Anybody who misgenders anybody will be destroyed and removed from the game forever. See, it doesn't stop at pronouns. It's a slippery slope, and it is not going to be optional in RuneScape. They're also asking that their pronouns be more visible to others in the game. If you oppose it, they say you are against inclusivity, so you are a bigot for wanting this game that is designed for bigots to continue to be bigoted. They say you are against inclusivity, it says. No, we are just against SJW politics being forced into old games and forced upon other players, the majority of which have no wish for these changes or to be banned by because they forgot to get your deerskin pronoun wrong. You know what's really interesting about this whole thing? As I pointed out a minute ago, there are two versions of RuneScape. I would say that the modern RuneScape that has been updated from the original RuneScape years ago, it is now a modern game. It's a far different game than it used to be, and it caters to a modern audience. Why is it that those changes can't be implemented there? Why is it the old school RuneScape that has to suffer? And why the heck would you think that it's a smart business decision to change a game that's designed for the parents of the modern audiences, the people who used to actually play and support your game, the people who brought your game into prominence in the current day and age? These people are just bad at business. They suck. The media sucks. These game developers suck. These game developers who embrace ESG and DEI and revolve the personality of their games entirely around a political ideology. It's insane how we've reached this point. And here's a screenshot that shows that in context. Are you against inclusivity? Not at all. I'm all for inclusivity. I just think that it would be very, very terribly abused to get people banned for false reasons like misgendering. And yes, it's a stupid reason to ban somebody for, since misgendering is not a thing. They've been trying to make it a thing for years, but it's not. Ash had a response for these people. Thanks for the suggestion and for sharing your concern about people being treated that way. Smiley face. Cheers, Ash. Maybe we could add the pronouns before people RSNs in the chat. Yes. The smiley face, we're going to see a lot more of that as the person who is typing all of these smiley faces starts to get irritated at people pushing back. The product manager for RuneScape is smugly replying to everyone on the pronoun issues, saying they are free to leave the game, ending every post with a smug smiley face emoji. I'm not a RuneScape player, but if you want things to change, unsub. That is Grum's suggestion. It's the only language the company owners understand. Well, they certainly do not understand normal language since they seem to be completely against it. Mod Ash says, to be honest, there were similar doom predictions when we first ran Pride events, and they just didn't seem to come true year after year. However, many times social media predicted it. Thanks for the warning, though. Smiley face. Oh, there they are. This guy's comment was less positive. No, this S has been a problem for a while, and you're just shoving your head in the sand and acting like it's not the issue it is. Have fun with all the pedos and degenerates you pandered to, while all the people who played RuneScape leave to avoid those freaks. And that's exactly what's going to happen, because old school RuneScape is not designed to be played by the modern audience. It was designed because OG RuneScape players hate the new version of RuneScape, and they wanted to play the game as it was originally intended to be played. So yeah, none of this makes any sense, and these people are pretending like this is not actually an issue, and that the pronoun thing is accepted by literally everybody. Which is why Mod Ash says in response, okay, thanks for the warning about us potentially having fewer people like you in the community. Smiley face. Man, you just gotta love today's game developers. Whenever you bring up a problem and try to help them face reality, they refuse and instead push you away, spit in your face, and say, we're glad that you're leaving. That's exactly why we did this in the first place. We're just sick of you original gamers being here. We want the modern audience to take over these already established titles. Because Concord, an original title, is not doing so hot. Sweet Baby Inc. involved titles are not doing so hot. Western games from big studios that are embracing ESG are not historically doing well. The media knows this. That's why they attacked Black Myth Wukong for as long as they did, and they're probably going to continue to attack it after it's already released. And with all these old games that we used to love and cherish being remade for modern audiences, we're going to be seeing a lot more of this. You can be certain of that. There's no way that these studios are going to stop unless more and more gamers vote with their wallets and verbally castrate these people for trying to push things that nobody wants, and that is effectively destroying the gaming industry at this point. How many more layoffs do we have to endure? How many shutdowns do we have to witness before things finally start to change? Well, many gamers believe that it's going to take a lot longer before we finally start to see victory on our end, but I believe if we stay true to the path, point these studios out whenever they do this stupid crap, and inform normal people who are not aware of it, I believe we're going to see some change before too long. Just be glad that you don't live in a timeline where the main character of a Chinese video game has the pronouns monkey and king. And that is all I've got for you guys in this video today. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you haven't had the chance to like it and share it with your friends, that would be awesome. And hey, if you're feeling ultra spicy, consider subscribing to my channel so that you're always up to date on what kind of thing I've got going on. I look forward to seeing you all in the next one. Later. Meow meow.